Hello, it's midnight. You're watching Nightline. I'm Raymond Goh. The top stories. New EMCO lockdown in KL's Selayang wholesale market surrounding areas, Pusat Bandar Utara. And Singapore confirms record jump of 1,426 COVID-19 cases in a single day. Good morning. The government has declared the 6th Enhanced Movement Control Order, EMCO, in the northern part of the capital, as well as the neighbourhoods surrounding the Kuala Lumpur wholesale market in Selayang. Senior Minister for Security Cluster, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, said the EMCO will be in place from Monday to May 3rd, involving 8 residential parcels. The areas now under EMCO involves areas in Pusat Bandar Utara, Taman Sri Murni, Taman Batu View and Taman Batu Hampa. Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri, who is also the Defence Minister, said it will affect 16,000 residents in the area. However, the Selayang wholesale market will remain open.
Di Pasar Borong itu kita tidak tutup Pasar Borong. Kita tutup kawasan perumahan, terutamanya rakyat ramai di kalangannya rakyat Rohingya yang memegang kad UNHCR tu. Jadi kawasan itu yang kita tutup. Sedangkan Pasar Borong masih lagi dibuka seperti biasa.
Non-residents and visitors will not be allowed into the EMCO area. Residents who need any help or have queries can contact either the Bilik Gerakan MCO DBKL or the Sentul Police District Headquarters Control Centre. A survey of the area showed that it had barbed wires strung along the road, with the army and police guarding the area. The minister reminded the residents to stay put and not leave the area. The Selayang wholesale market is a major supplier of fresh produce for the Klang Valley. Meanwhile, in his daily press conference on Monday, Health Director General Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said the death of a 36-year-old Myanmar man who was admitted to Selayang Hospital on April 17th has led the authorities to focus on and implement mass screening in Selayang area. He said until Monday, 2,064 individuals were screened and 28 individuals were found positive, including the deceased.
Because of that, we need to focus in the location as well as the target group. And the target risk, high-risk group is basically in Pasar Borong, Kuala Lumpur, and we have taken action to enhance the MCO in that area.
The Myanmar man was noted as the 88th out of the total 89 COVID-19 related deaths in Malaysia. On another matter, Dr. Noor Hisham said 36 new cases of COVID-19 were reported on Monday, bringing the total number of infections in the nation to 5,425. He added 96 more COVID-19 patients have recovered from the disease and were discharged.
Hari ini kita ada 36 kes di mana 24 ialah penularan di komuniti dan 12 adalah kes import daripada pelajar kita daripada luar negara, iaitu 11 daripada Magetan, Jawa Timur, Indonesia dan seorang daripada United States of America.
Dr. Noor Hisham also said no deaths were reported on Monday. He added 45 cases are being treated at the Intensive Care Unit, ICU, and out of that number, 28 cases need respiratory aid. This is the 5th time Malaysia has recorded a double-digit rise in new COVID-19 cases since the MCO came into force. Dr. Noor Hisham attributed the success in lowering the number of cases to dedicated medical frontliners, enforcement agencies, and others involved in directly implementing the MCO. In the meantime, Dr. Noor Hisham said that his ministry hopes Malaysia will reach single-digit new COVID-19 cases next week, but breaking the chain of infection may take between 3 and 6 months. He also said that the World Health Organization, WHO, has predicted that Malaysia will still be at war with COVID-19. even until next year, unless vaccines for the coronavirus are found and made available to the public. Dr. Noor Hisham said the government will continue to monitor, research and try to minimize infections inside the community, such as the influenza-like illnesses, ILI, and severe acute respiratory infection, SARI, which can be used to plan what needs to be done.
Kalau kes-kes AIRI dan SARI bertambah, maksud dia virus tu masih ada dalam komuniti. Tetapi sekarang ni kita lihat kes-kes AIRI dan SARI pun semakin berkurangan. Jadi kalau berkurangan itu satu indikasi yang baik untuk kita melaksanakan ataupun merancang untuk tindakan kita untuk masa depan.
Dr. Noor Hisham also said the government was looking at an exit strategy from the MCO and how to mitigate the situation to ensure that the nation can enter into the new normal.
Probably it must be a soft landing in terms of looking in the next 2 weeks and then slowly in the next 2 weeks, how can we slowly but surely make sure that we can actually return back to not the norm, the new norm, return back to a new norm for us to make sure that we can continue to stop this or to break the chain of the COVID transmission. So that is.
He said this would mean social distancing rules and bans on large gatherings were likely to continue for the rest of the year. The Tan Sri Muhyiddin Charity Govt Foundation, or TSMCG, on Monday contributed 400,000 ringgit worth of medical equipment and supplies to University Malaya Medical Centre UMMC. Its Secretary General Nur Zilan Muhammad Noor said the healthcare items comprising personal protective equipment, PPE, face masks and face shields were distributed in stages to UMMC beginning Monday. He added the contribution was from TSMCG members from a total collection of almost 2.4 million ringgit. TSMCG has raised 1.9 million ringgit in cash and various daily necessities worth 500,000 ringgit through its 40 members since the beginning of this year to assist frontliners and others following the outbreak. Among other items donated throughout the MCO are 16,500 essential family packs for lower-income households nationwide and another 2,200 similar packs to ASNB families. Meanwhile, UMMC Director Professor Dr. Tunku Kamarul Zaman Tunku Zainul Abidin expressed his gratitude for the contribution and also welcomed more parties to donate to the university hospital. Manufacturers are looking at some drastic measures in the next 3 to 6 months to stay afloat. Federation of Malaysian Manufacturers, FMM President Tan Sri So Tian Lai said some companies have indicated that they might have to resort to layoffs or retrenchments. In a statement on Monday, Tan Sri So said a recent survey conducted by the FMM on the impact of the MCO showed that 63% of respondents might have to resort to such cost-cutting measures, with 47% having to do so within the next 3 to 6 months. Majority, or 78.7% of companies, would have to lay off or retrench up to 30% of employees. Some manufacturers are looking at different measures to preserve employment. They include freezing headcount, instituting unpaid leave, removal of some non-contractual allowances and benefits, forced annual leave, reduction on work days per week, reduction in some benefits agreed in the collective agreement for the unionized companies, and reduction in work hours per day. The manufacturers, he added, are facing tremendous strain on their revenue and ability to sustain business amidst the COVID-19 pandemic and the Movement Control Order, MCO. Amanah Saham Nasional Berhad ASNB has announced an online withdrawal facility for selected unit trust funds under its management through the My ASNB portal. Unit holders will now be able to withdraw their investments from any of their ASNB unit trust accounts except for ASN Sara 2 and ASN Equity 5. The amount would be transferred to the unit holder's bank account registered with My ASNB on the following working day. Unit holders are allowed to withdraw a minimum amount of 100 ringgit per transaction. However, the My ASNB withdrawal facility is limited to 3 transactions per month, with a maximum accumulated amount of 500 ringgit from any of the ASNB unit trust accounts belonging to the unit holder. This online withdrawal service will also be made available via the My ASNB application from April 27th onwards. Dato Sri Tiong King Singh has been appointed as the Prime Minister's Special Envoy to China with ministerial status. The Prime Minister's Office, PMO, in a statement on Monday, announced the appointment of the President of Progressive Democratic Party, PDP, would strengthen bilateral relations between Malaysia and China, especially in trade and investment. The Member of Parliament for Bintulu had previously served as the Prime Minister's Special Envoy for East Asia from 2014 to 2018. After the breather, miners among 35 nabbed at private parties in Kuala Lumpur. Welcome back. Dato Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob on Monday said that face mask scams in the country have resulted in losses amounting to 4.2 million ringgit since the start of the movement control order. He said a majority of the scams involving face masks were via social media. He said police will take firm action against scammers but urged the public to be more aware and vigilant about such scams. He said buyers can verify the seller's bank account before making payment through the police's Commercial Crime Investigation Department's SEMA Mule portal or the online seller's status at biztrust.ssm.com.my. Meanwhile, Dato Sri Ismail said the police and the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission had opened 229 investigation papers relating to COVID-19 fake news on Monday. Of the figure, he said 161 cases are still under investigation, while 24 have been charged in court and 13 have pleaded guilty. Several miners were among 23 people nabbed when a wild drug-fueled party was raided by cops in the city last Friday. The group, comprising 13 males and 10 females, aged between 14 and 23, were arrested at a condominium at Jalan Gombak, Setapak at 1:40 a.m. following a public tip-off. Wangsa Maju Police Chief Superintendent Rajab Ahad Ismail on Monday said in the raid, authorities seized 5 packets of ketamine, weighing 4 grams and 8 Aramin 5 pills. Initial investigations found that the partygoers were close friends and were invited via WhatsApp. All the detainees were also found to have violated the MCO, while urine tests revealed 7 of the male suspects and 4 females tested positive for drugs. The group has been remanded and the case being investigated under the Dangerous Drugs Act, as well as the Prevention and Control of Infectious Diseases regulations. Members of the public with information on suspicious activities can also contact the City Police hotline or any of the nearest police station. Meanwhile, another 12 local men were arrested for attending a separate drug-fueled party and violating the MCO at a condominium in Jalan Ang Seng Brickfields early Sunday morning. Brickfields Police Chief ACP Zairul Nizam Muhammad Zainuddin, in a statement on Monday, said 7 of them, aged 17 to 33, tested positive for drugs. Authorities also seized 9.5 grams of ganja in 4 plastic packets at the scene. It was believed that one of the suspects rented a condominium for 178 ringgit per night and then invited his friends via WhatsApp and phone calls to join the party. All of them were remanded for 4 days until April 22nd. They were also fined 1,000 ringgit each for violating the MCO. In Selangor, 41 Myanmar citizens who defied the Movement Control Order MCO by participating in a water festival in Bandar Baru Salak Tinggi recently were fined 1,000 ringgit each by the Sepang Magistrates Court on Monday. Magistrate A. Akhiruddin handed down the sentence to all of them after they pleaded guilty to the charges, which were read out by a Burmese interpreter. He also ordered the accused, aged between 19 and 34 years, to serve a month each in jail if they failed to pay the fine. The foreign workers, all between 19 and 34 years old, were charged with gathering by participating in the water festival in an area of infection in the compound of a male factory workers' hostel on April 12th. A 30-second video shared on social media showing the group of foreign workers celebrating Songkran at a factory has since gone viral. In Kelantan, police seized 140,000 Yaba pills worth 1.4 million ringgit in a raid at Kampung Kubang Pak Ali in Pasir Mas. Authorities also arrested a 27-year-old man believed to be a first-time drug runner. State Police Chief Dato' Hassanuddin Hassan said the seizure was made by the General Operations Force GOP personnel. They had stopped a Proton Persona car driven by young men in a suspicious manner who were subsequently detained for inspection. Checks on the vehicle revealed 2 large boxes and 2 small boxes containing 70 transparent plastic packages filled with red and green colored pills believed to be Yaba pills. The man, who had no previous criminal record, was transporting the drug from Rantau Panjang to Tumpat for delivery. 8,000 ringgit and 8,000 Thai baht, as well as a 500 ringgit watch, were also seized. The suspect was remanded until April 26 to facilitate investigations under the Dangerous Drugs Act. Gunman kills at least 16 in Canada shooting rampage. This and more when we return. On to the foreign front now. Singapore reported a daily high of 1,426 new COVID-19 cases on Monday, bringing the national total cases tally to 8,014. The number of total deaths, meanwhile, stands at 11, with no new fatalities reported. According to the Health Ministry, of the new cases, only 16 are Singaporeans or permanent residents, while the vast majority of the new cases continue to be work permit holders living in foreign worker dormitories. Cases have surged since authorities started carrying out widespread testing of foreign workers living in crowded dormitory complexes. Following the criticism of poor living conditions in the dorms, the government moved thousands of workers to other sites, including apartments and floating accommodation usually used in offshore industries, in order to break the infection chain. A total of 18 foreign worker dormitories have been gazetted as isolation areas, with workers not allowed to leave the premises for 2 weeks. Over in Indonesia, the death toll due to COVID-19 has risen to 590, with 8 more deaths reported within the last 24 hours. According to the government spokesman on COVID-19, Ahmad Yuryanto, the number of positive cases, meanwhile, had also risen to 6,760 after 185 new positive cases were recorded. Jakarta remained the hardest hit area, with the highest overall fatalities at 287, followed by West Java 62, East Java 56, while the remaining are found in other Indonesian provinces. In the meantime, a recent survey found that about half of Indonesia's workers, many of whom are in the agriculture sector, have stopped working since the first week of April as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, Spain registered 399 more deaths on Monday, bringing the total number of confirmed COVID-19 victims in the country to 21,238. the lowest daily death toll registered in the country since March 22nd. The country also passed the 200,000 mark for confirmed cases after reporting another 4,266 infections. Based on the figure, Spain now has the second most cases in the world after the United States. Over in France, 395 more deaths were reported in the last 24 hours, bringing the epidemic tally to 19,718. Of the new deaths, 227 were recorded in hospitals, the lowest such number of any day since March 23rd. In another positive sign, the number of people in hospital fell for the fifth day in a row to 30,610, a small decline of 29. The nation also recorded 1,101 new cases on Monday, taking the total cases tally to 152,894. In other news, a gunman disguised as a policeman went on a rampage across the Canadian province of Nova Scotia, killing at least 16 people, including a cop, in the deadliest such attack in the country's history. It was understood that the suspect was later killed in a confrontation with the police after a 12-hour manhunt. According to local authorities, the gunman was identified as Gabriel Wortman, a 51-year-old denturist. Police said the chaos began around 10 p.m. local time on Saturday when police received a call about shots being fired at a home in Portapique. It was believed that suspect had also shot several people at the house before fleeing the scene and began shooting people randomly at other locations. Police then were led to several crime scenes miles apart from Portapique, stretching to Enfield, where the suspect was found and was later shot dead by the cops. Police have not yet provided a motive for the attack, but have said the case is not being investigated as terror. Sports football. Manchester United have reportedly made huge progress in their pursuit of the highly rated winger Jadon Sancho, with the England ace reportedly agreeing to personal terms for a switch to Old Trafford from Borussia Dortmund next season. According to the source, the 20-year-old winger is believed to have agreed every aspect of the deal, including the length of his contract, salary, bonuses, and a huge buyout clause. It is claimed that talks have been ongoing for several months now, and United have finally found a breakthrough with Sancho and his representatives. United must now turn their attention to Dortmund in a bid to agree a fee for the highly rated forward. Dortmund are believed to be looking out for a fee which would surpass the amount United paid Juventus for Paul Pogba 4 years ago. Sancho started his career at United's bitter rivals Manchester City, but made the move to Germany in 2017 after struggling to break into the first team. Since then, he has gone on to become one of the most highly sought-after young players in the world and has also broken into the England team, having won 11 caps. Now let's take a look at what's been splashed on the front pages of Malaysia's main newspapers for Tuesday, April the 21st. The New Sunday Times and the Harian Metro highlight the enhanced MCO placed on Pusat Bandar Utara and areas near Selayang Wholesale Market. Berita Harian focuses on SOP for e-Bazaar Ramadan traders to ensure cleanliness and safety, while a report on the impact of COVID-19 on SMEs gets the front page of the Malaysian Reserve as employers start to cut salaries to survive the pandemic. Do get your copies today or subscribe to the e-paper versions. Now, since the COVID-19 pandemic began, a number of tributes and appreciation videos have poured in for the frontliners who are working extremely hard in the fight against the virus. This includes amazing talents from the Malaysian Philharmonic Youth Orchestra, who performed the entire Star Wars theme song on camera just to honor the frontliners. Footage of the breathtaking performance wraps up Nightline this time around. I'm Raymond Goh. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure you stay safe and take care.